Hey, this is Coach Kinsey Shae, and here with Bobby Merwin, the counselor and the coach in the house. And today we are going to talk about Gen X. Let's rediscover our passion, like really
Mhm,
embracing our child self and looking at like hobbies and
mhm.
so forth. But before we get into that, subscribe, do all that fun jazz. Share if you think somebody needs to hear this, that we do this from
Yes.
our heart to your heart. Um,
Yep.
so let's just break it down because I would say, not even just rediscover, but discover, because I think a lot of Gen Xers, we lived in this world where we were very much latchkey. We were pretty much, we went from like 5 to 30 overnight. I mean, we were responsible. I
Yes.
remember doing my laundry,
Yep.
cooking my own meals,
Yep.
do, everything.
Taking care of siblings,
Yes.
running errands, doing chores when you got home, because you know why? There was a paper list,
Yeah.
"Sweetie, take care of this before I get home, see you at 7." You
Right.
know, things like that.
Your parents didn't stay home when you were sick. You stayed home alone,
Oh, no! Are you
and
kidding?
they called and checked on you, and that was
That's
pretty
right.
much it.
Or a neighbor stopped by, and you know what the other funny thing was, is that they trusted you,
Right,
because
and
I
I
didn't do anything stupid when I was home by myself. I just wanted to watch TV and like drink the liquid that my mom made me before she left. That's
and
it.
I just want to really press upon the point of trust, and I think a lot of, younger generations, we as Gen Xers raised our kids with a almost like a lack of trust. This is not judgment, but we were very much helicopter type parents, so we never gave them a sense of autonomy, and
Yes,
that it can really affect a child's sense of self.
it
And
can. Yes.
yeah. And
Yep.
so part of this is really just discovering your part in the way you were raised and embracing your
Mhm.
essence, but also how we're raising our children so they can embrace their essence. The anxiety, depression is
Mhm.
like Gen Z is like the highest statistically in about every report that I have read.
Mhm.
And
Highest in what?
like this anxiety,
Yeah.
depression,
Mhm.
um a lot of mental health concerns.
Yes, and I
um
would believe in consumption of
yeah,
psychotropics as well.
yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
So in this rediscovering portion, it is, accepting and acknowledging our part in everything that has happened. When we were young, we had to accept and acknowledge that our parents weren't there, you know. But in this season, we can accept and acknowledge that we can give a sense of self by trusting our children in return, because if your own parents don't show you trust, then
Mhm.
you have a lack of self, like you don't think you're trustworthy or worthy, you know.
Absolutely, yes.
So I mean, just some fruit for thought. That
Mhm.
wasn't what we were going to be talking about, but it really was on my heart.
You know what? I'm good with the improv. I like it.
Yeah.
And I wanted to touch on something that you said, thinking about the whole when you said being at home by ourselves when we were sick. I
Right.
mean, again, that doesn't happen today. It
No.
just really doesn't. Not
Yes.
nearly. It does. It's just not at the level that it did. But
Mm-mm.
what I have noticed with people that are Gen X, and I found it especially predominant in men, is that they either went one way or the other. So we had to be latchkey. We had to take care of our own stuff. We had to see the list when we got home. We had to make sure that the dishes were done and the garbage was out before, they came home, and do the things that you needed to do. So that
Mhm.
either A, made you really Prussian, eins, zwei, eins, zwei, got to do everything in a certain way and not reward ourselves at all. Or it's like the polar opposite. I've got a buddy that's like this, that if things get bad, he shops. If
Mhm.
things get bad, he like endears and adorns himself with things.
Yeah,
And
it's
he's always
all
like making up for what he didn't have when he was young. basically.
Well, it also is a sense of externally validating yourself with things, you know? Um, your true essence is really validating yourself by within yourself. You know, that is the true way of healing trauma, healing pain. Um, Before my accident, I externally validated, by other people's compliments, um, by shopping, by, being the life of the party. If I wasn't those things, then I thought there was something wrong with me, which
Right.
wasn't accurate, because it might just have been not a group of people that I belonged with. And that's
Right.
okay. Not everybody's cup of tea. And
Right.
that's okay. That
Mhm.
doesn't mean there's something wrong with you.
Right.
Um, to get down to a foundational level, to get to know who you are, is really take stock of your values, because quite often we take the values of our parents, and quite often those were passed down from their parents, and most often they are lies. They don't serve any purpose in this time and space. They might have served a
Yep.
purpose in the past. I'm not going to pass judgment on that.
Right.
We're very much conditioned beings. So parenting styles very much were passed down. How often do people say, I'm never going to be like my parents? And they end up trying so hard they're exactly like their parents, because we are very conditioned to do that. That's our comfort zone.
Without a doubt. I mean, especially for me being in the dating world and
Yeah.
having the opportunity to meet people's mothers. And I don't meet their mother, the first date, obviously.
Yeah.
But then, they say, oh, I never want to be like my mother. And then, being a counselor, I'm picking up on nuances and
Right.
idiosyncrasies very, very quickly. I
Right.
watch them for 15 minutes. I'm like, oh no, you guys are just like carbon copies, just 30 years off.
Right.
So yeah, it ends up that way. I love it.
Yeah. But the thing is I really want to press upon really looking at where your true essence of your values are. That's one of the first things that exercises I do with my clients, is really looking at the lies and the truths. Like, what is alignment like with, are you a person
Yes.
that lives in intention, or are you somebody that you're appreciative, you have a good heart?
Hmm.
These are all core values, and this will set up your boundaries, so that you can repel the people that aren't going to serve you going forward.
Yeah, correct. Just like in recovery, you get to step 4. You got to take a fearless moral inventory of yourself.
Yeah.
And this
And
is
it's
kind of
fearless
like
for a
that.
reason.
It is
It's
fearless for a reason, because you need to face that
Yes.
shit and say, this is what I'm going to accept. This is what I'm not. It's not about telling on yourself and saying like, oh, I'm a bad person. No, it's what do I see? What do I know? What am I willing to accept? And what kind of boundaries am I going to create so that this and this and this don't happen again?
Right. And when
And how
we
do I get better?
say when we say accept, that doesn't mean that you accept that's the way it is. It
Mhm.
means that you accept that you did the best that you could in the time and space that it
With what you
happened.
knew.
And you
Correct.
acknowledged your piece in it. This isn't a
Mhm.
blame game. And you let go what does no longer serve you, and take the lesson with you to up
Mhm.
level your life. That is what we're saying when we say accept and acknowledge and let go or
Right.
surrender.
Yep.
Because a lot of
Surrender.
people, yeah,
Wow. I
a
haven't heard
lot.
that word in a while. I'm gonna put that back into my vocabulary. Surrender. Yes, please surrender. Yes. I love it.
Yeah, because a lot of clients, when I talk to them, and they're like, I'm just supposed to accept this, that, or the other. No, you accept your part in whatever happened, and you acknowledge that you did the best you could, and then
Mhm.
you let go what does not serve you. And this will help
Mhm.
you, rediscover your values
Yes.
and your boundaries. And one way to really get into, like, we had the Olympics, this last month or this month. And, it took me back to when I did synchronized swimming, and I'm just like,
Oh, you did that. How
I did.
cool. Oh
Yeah.
my.
Yeah. And I'm like, the best times in my life was with water. So why am I not embracing, exercise and water? So now I started doing laps in the pool, and I just think
Mhm.
about when I was a child and with the, just all the fun times, and it brings that nostalgia, that emotional attachment to those good times will raise your vibration, elevate your mood, decrease your risk of getting depressed, because quite often we look at exercise as a hustle, like it's something we have to do. You know what I mean? It's that we don't look at it
Yeah.
as a joy. If we find joy in it and it gives us the fuzzies in our heart space, so you know what I mean? It's
But again, let's touch on that, please, because the
yeah,
fuzzies in your heart space.
yeah.
Sometimes for Gen X people, that's very hard for them to
Mm-hmm.
take in. I'm
Uh-huh.
going to speak personally about that because it has been hard for me in my life to actually take that in. If I'm doing something good for myself, for a long time, it was like, oh, I'm not supposed to be doing that. I'm supposed to be suffering and dealing with pain and misery. And I can't take these heart space things in. I can't take in these fuzzies.
Right.
But we have to start to let that go and see where we are and how we can slightly adjust that and see how it feels.
Exactly. Because most people, Gen Xers, especially men, whether it be relationships, whether their job, they just want a sense of peace. That's what they want. But quite often they have a hard time accepting the peace in because they feel they have to have this armor.
Mhm.
Um, and in when we put an armor on, we don't allow the good or the bad in. We don't allow possibilities. We don't allow our passions to
Sure.
shine.
The
We
armor is to
don't,
stop everything. Yes.
yeah. And we don't live in purpose or have intentional living. Um,
Ooh.
yeah.
Live in purpose. Let's underline that one.
Yep.
I like that. Yes, live in purpose. Good.
Yes. And what is purpose? Purpose is what lights you on fire in the morning. It lights you up, like you're excited for your day. That doesn't mean that you're, kumbaya every day. I live in gratitude. I live in appreciation, but there are days that are harder than others, and those are the days where you nurture yourselves. You do
Yeah.
hobbies to kind of, it's a healthy way to numb yourself out in a way. I don't like to use the word numb out, but
Mhm.
to channel your energy. You know what I mean?
I'm
Um,
going to start saying kumbaya to myself when I make coffee in the morning just because of you.
I
That's what I'm
know,
going to do.
kumbaya,
Yep. Yep.
but
That's it. That's a Kinseyism. We're doing that.
it
Oh yeah,
is, it is.
kumbaya.
But I'm gonna put up the meme that that one is a post, and then one that I put by it is kind of pitfalls I think a lot of Gen Xers have, where
All
they
right.
don't embrace their passion, they don't embrace their purpose, they don't embrace I think there's reasons why. And so I put something right by it.
Okay.
So, okay, so passion is energy. Feel the power that comes from focusing on what excites you. Like me looking at like what excited me when I was a child was when I would did synchronized swimming. So now I'm
Uh-huh.
swimming. I'm making it a hobby, and I feel a lot lighter. I feel more energetic about it, and it's
Mhm.
lighting up my creativity and my passion in other areas, because it's very much like watercolors. You add a color in and it will kind of, you know it will kind of go across all of the colors, so you're
Mhm.
coloring your mosaic of life, your masterpiece of life, by embracing the positive energy, the passion into your life, the things that excite you. And this is a quote from Oprah Winfrey. I want to put that in. I want to give her flowers for saying that. I didn't say it, but it really
Mhm.
resonated with me. But quite often I feel that we're in this competition where we have to do better than the Joneses or the neighbors or everybody else. So the competition, to get the best house, to get the best car, to get the best job, to get the best gig, to get the best speaking, whatever your lane is,
Mhm.
leads, the competition isn't other people. The competition is your self-doubt, your excuses, your negative thoughts.
This guy.
Yeah. Your comfort zone, your pride, your habits, and your lack of focus. Okay. I mean, this is very direct. And I think the reason I'm doing it so directly is because I needed somebody to tell me to my face, because I'm like, I've always done it. Like the first time I did coaching, I'm like, I want to change, right? And I told the coach, I go, I've just always been this way. And he's like, well, how's that working out for you? You
How's
contacted me.
that exactly what I was thinking. Oh my gosh, totally a counseling type statement.
Yeah. And when I went through my coaching, went through my counseling, I mean, it is mental health. It is imperative. It's not something that should be looked down upon, especially after the huge, huge shift in 2020. You know, mental health is a priority, and looking in the mirror and looking at your self-doubt, looking at the excuses that like, this happened to me because, not like, okay, this happened, this was my part in it, I accept it, I acknowledge this, what's my lesson, and how can I let it go, and how can I use this lesson to up level my life? You know, I kind of set up this in the beginning.
Yes.
Yeah. And I really want to press, because a lot of people, especially Gen Xers, we look at habits. Like, I have to change my habits. Well, we really have to
we heard that a lot.
We really have to look at our emotional attachment. Are our thoughts, because we have 60,000 thoughts a day, those turn into our emotions.
I definitely don't. I'm up to like 11.
Scientifically speaking, that's what the rough estimate that they say. But do you anchor it to replenishing positive, like appreciation, care, love? Or do you anchor to the depleting energy of your emotions, the anger, the rage, the regret, the shame? Where do you anchor that in? Because those turn into our memories, those turn into our beliefs. And at the end of all of that, that is where the habits start. So we have to get to the root. We have to get to the root. How are you anchoring yourself? How are you grounding yourself? These are questions to ask yourself, because looking at your habits, it will change for a day, but it won't change for a lifetime.
Yes. And I'm glad you said the word habits again, because that is true. That's something, in the Gen X world, we've, that's been a word that we have crutched on for a long time. But I like how you're changing it to like, what are you rooting yourself in?
Yes.
And when I think of rooting myself, I think of like, these are the primary things that I need to do during a day in order to feel complete and be and operate at my optimum. And that's what we're looking to do, is to catapult people into that and give them the chance to accept the situation that they have, forgive themselves for where they are, and just move on into something that can be just that much more powerful, because Rome was not built in a day. You are not just it's not going to be like a movie. I mean, how many times you watch HGTV and the house is done in 26 minutes?
Oh, I know.
Right? It's not that way. It's not going to happen that way.
But
if you keep trying every day, it's going to help. So,
right. You're going to move, and you're going to do those needle point moves to get you in the right direction. We talked about this mindset that I think a lot of Gen Xers have, is that all or nothing. Like, it's really not going to change it, so I'm not going to do it. But it's compounding.
That is something that I've had to unroot in myself. It's like, if I can't do this perfectly, I don't want to do it at all. I hate everything. I hate it,
I know.
I'm going to throw a fit.
And then we get in the, self-doubt, pride thing. I can't do it perfect, so why even try? I mean,
no, it's something that I've had to undo. And that's why I keep saying because there are people that are listening to this right now that have that issue. They're like, if I can't do it perfect, then I don't want to do it at all. Do it anyway.
Fail forward,
because you're going to figure something out as you're going. Fail forward. So I have a plan this winter because I get kind of tentative when I start working on mechanical things.
Right.
And I got a bike that I want to restore, a motorcycle.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll tell you what, I almost just rock back and forth thinking about it because I'm half frightened about it. But I am going to do it. I am going to tackle this because I really, really, really want to, because I want to just try and see what I can do.
Right.
And it's going to be fun.
Right. Be curious, like a kiddo. I mean, we talked about this a couple weeks ago. Like when your parents said, we're going to go to the fair and do rides, you're already thinking of what rides you're going to go on, how you're going there on, all of that. So really, like, look at stuff not as a problem, not as something that I have to do. Look at it like a child, like, oh, I get to be curious and have fun and, just enjoy the process. In essence, that brings out your passion. In essence, it gives you a sense of purpose. And at the end of the day, you will see your true essence, your truth that is in each and every one of us. Yeah. But quite often we give our power away by ourselves. We shackle ourselves like an elephant. We talked about that several times.
I don't think that you could say that at all without me feeling it. Yeah. And I mean that. And I mean, I am where I am and doing what I'm doing and seeing what I've seen. And I still feel it when you say that, because I didn't let myself. And now it's easier to let myself.
Exactly. I mean, like when Bobby and I first met, we were on a coaching
truck stop. I think it was a truck stop. I was dancing. I was on the backstage. I hadn't made it to front stage material yet, but by God, I worked my way up.
We were just going back and forth, and our coach was like, "You guys are hilarious," and I go, I feel in my heart we should do something. I don't know what it looks like. Let's talk about it. Let's do whatever. And I still remember you're like, I don't know. I just don't like being on it. And you were giving me like every excuse, every whatever. And I'm like, let's just do it. Let's just do it.
I remember this. I remember as soon as you started saying that about the whole camera thing, and I hated doing that. My comfort level is much, much higher. Like 95% higher than it was that first day.
Yeah.
But I think it's because we're being helpful. And this whole process has changed that for me. And this ties into what we're talking about.
Yes.
Because I had to get my comfort level to a certain area in order to be able to do this. Because I always found people that were self-proclaiming in front of a microphone and a camera to be, just kind of arrogant and kind of self-fulfilling, like they want to do this and look cool. But after talking to you and many other people, it's like, if you're going to do this and you're going to help people, then that's not it. You're doing this to actually help people. You're not doing this because you want your face in front of the camera. And they said, do you want your face in front of the camera? I went, no, I don't. My voice? Sure. My face? No.
But the thing, we all have gifts. We all have perspective. That doesn't mean everybody has to go in front of the camera. That's not the premise of this. But for me to be, I would have 6 years ago, I would have never thought that I would be doing this. And it was just keeping going forward, getting more comfortable with myself, being able to speak. Yes, I took speaking classes. Yes, I took different things to help me with my comfort level, but I knew it was a weakness, a hurdle I had to jump over. We all have hurdles. Do you, avoid the hurdle, or do you try to, jump over the hurdle and maybe fall?
I'm 54. I avoid the hurdle. Yeah. I saw the hurdle. I panicked. I went around it. No, I get what you're saying. Yes. You gotta try. You do have to give it a try. Again, going back to my motorcycle project, it sounds simple. Oh, motorcycle, garage, pull it in, tools, blah. No, if anybody's ever worked on anything, I don't know, in their life, they know that it never goes according to plan.
Yeah.
And that's the parts where you start to panic, and then you start to question your knowledge, carry the 4, and you get into a conundrum. But I'm going to go past that. I'm going to push past that.
Right. If
So,
you like, I do a lot of reframing like beliefs in my coaching. A lot of people are like,
mhm,
I can't do that. I never can do that. And I go, whatever you tell yourself, that will be. It's that, quantum physics, like of observance law. Whatever you
mhm,
focus on, you change the matter of. So if you're not willing to look
okay,
at it, focus on it, you can't change it. So, in essence, stop complaining about it because you're not doing the pivotal needle point moves to jump
mhm,
over that hurdle. And I'm being very direct and
yes,
to the point
but it's good.
for a reason. This isn't me
Mhm.
being mean, but I very much needed it because I needed like the smack in the head, like, girl, get out of your own way.
Yes. Oh,
We
well
don't
said, well
realize
said.
it.
Get out of your own way. That is something that I try and do and focus on every week, is you gotta get out of your own way to do the right
Yeah.
things. And you being direct is not mean. You being direct is what people probably need to hear, and
Hmm.
it's going to be helpful, and I love it. I love what you're
Yeah.
saying.
Yeah. So, I mean, getting back to like hobbies, getting back to, I think Gen Xers, we don't give enough validity to how pivotal they can be in our lives. I don't care if it's a jewelry class, you're learning something new, or you're taking like a new yoga class, or you're just walking in nature. Get yourself
Mhm,
grounded in doing something, and that will bleed into everything else. Because me getting just thinking about the nostalgia of synchronized swimming and going swimming every day and smelling the pool and being in, it's an indoor fitness center. I
mhm,
used to do gymnast or do the synchronized swimming in like the YMCA back in my hometown. And it's very much like that where I go now. And it just brings back this I can do anything type of, and it bleeds into my work. It bleeds into my day. So these little things, we think they're not important, but they
mhm,
can give you that sense of peace, that sense of passion, that
mhm,
purpose in your life. And it can compound over time. We like to think that change is that microwave instant, type of thing. But I mean, I'm sorry, we've been doing crap for 40, 50 years. It's going to take a little bit to, unravel it.
It's yeah, there's gonna take a moment to reroute.
Yeah.
So yes, we do have a world of instant gratification, of instant changes, of instant credits. I mean, geez,
Dopamine head.
if I left my house right now, I could have a new car in 4 hours.
Mhm.
Right? I mean, just think of that. That's crazy. So that is not how this stuff that
No.
Kinsey and I are talking about works. You have to set a base and then kind of go from that base. And Kinsey said needlepoint movements. That's what you need, is those slight needlepoint movements. That is a win. See
Mhm.
that as a win. See that as an accomplishment. Take that in and say, I did that.
Yeah.
And know that you can do it again the next day. It's not going to be perfect. You're not going to be 10 for 10, but
No.
we're looking for more than not, and that would be great because that's what we want to do. And even at my age, even at my profession, I still find myself trying to make needlepoint movements to change some of the rooted habits that we're talking about, that were pushed into us as Gen X kids and how we grew up. And it's not that I shouldn't say pushed into us, but you know what I mean? It's how we grew up.
Mhm.
This is
We
what
were
we evolved.
conditioned. We were very much
Conditioned.
yes.
Conditioned. Yes, thank
Yeah.
you. If I only knew some more words. I've only got like I've got 11 words and like 37 thoughts a day. That's it. The synaptic fire, it just looks like, a half dead sparkler. It's gone. Gone. It's gone.
I mean, I think that we get so much in the space that we have to be perfect, that hobbies don't pay the bills. They don't do anything productive.
Mhm.
Um, so we poo-poo it, or we make it a task and then we don't enjoy it. We don't find the peace. We don't
Oh,
find the
so well
passion.
said.
Yes.
Again, we're going to go back to the video stuff with me. I found it a task, didn't I? You and I talked about that.
Yes.
I mean,
Reframe
was
it.
short. I was
Mhm.
short. My attitude was poor. My language was colorful. My elevation was high when I would talk about this, how much I didn't want to do it.
Right.
And now I've gotten to that point where I have moved the needle and I'm
Mhm.
getting that much more comfortable with everything. And it feels really good. So I implore you to give it a try, because when you move that needle and see that you did that and go, yes, I can actually do this, it's a great thing. Think about it with losing weight. How long did it take you to put that weight on? It's
Mhm.
going to take you about the same time to take it off. You don't
Right.
just peel it off in a week. This isn't magic.
Well,
But if you get on that scale and see that you lost 1.5 pounds that week, fantastic. Keep going. Good for you. You're doing it.
well, this is the thing. I think that quite often, like, let's use the weight thing as an example. Let's look at, let's just strip it down to intentional living. Like, what is your intention for losing weight? Is it to look like the models on the, TikTok, or,
Mhm.
the magazines or whatever? Or is your intention to be healthy and feel good in your skin? Because when you reframe your intention to be realistic and
Mhm.
attainable, that's not externally validating,
Right.
then you can have that sense of purpose, that passion that ignites you to get up each and every day, to go swimming, to go walk in the, in the forest, or whatever the hell you do for your,
Mhm.
for your health. Um,
Mhm. Yeah.
Intention matters.
Mhm.
Because if you're like, I'll feel better when, only if type of thinking, you're never going to be satisfied. Never.
Wow. Note. That's great. That's a note to end on right there. That is a fantastic summation of just about everything that we just talked about. I can't do better than that. Well done.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well done.
So, passion is energy. So, just embrace the flow,
Mhm.
embrace acceptance, acknowledgement, accept that, where you're, how you're anchoring in your emotions. Is it replenishing? Is it positive? Or is it depleting?
Yes.
Reframe your thought process. And honestly, every needle point move, even if it's not what you wanted to do or expected to do, honor and celebrate yourself.
It's
Because
still
quite
there. You still
honest,
made the move.
yeah,
Yes.
because those
Again, going
needle
back to the
points,
scale, you wanted it to be 1.5 pounds. It was 7 ounces. You know what? Positive. That
positive
is going in the right direction. So
needle
go with
point.
it.
Yeah, because once we fit, let's just add that, because once we feed in our energy to the self-doubt, to the
Mhm.
excuses, to the negative thoughts, to the comfort zone, what makes us feel good, our pride, our habits, our lack of focus, when we take the eye off the prize of what our intention is, then we lose track of where we're going, and we're
Mhm.
just in the ocean, just pedaling, and we have no direction.
Yep.
So your competition is yourself, my friends. Each and every day is an invitation to up level yourself, to live in passion, to live in purpose, and to find peace within yourself. You have the power within you.
That's it.
That's it,
The only
baby.
way this closure is going to get better is if we can introduce the audience to Pez. Pez is her new guinea pig. Listen to this.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
the sounds. I love the
I
sounds so
know.
much.
Yep. And he's my little Pez dispenser. Anybody that has a guinea pig knows exactly what that means.
Yeah, we don't have to draw that out any more than that. But I like that he just sits in that little bed there and he's just so content.
He is. He is.
Yes. Maybe that's metaphorical for our audience and what they need.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe it could be. Could be.
Let's put him up to
But
the.
yes,
Let's see if I put him up
put
to
him
the camera.
put him on the camera. See? Oh, that's just good. Yep. That's adorable.
He's like, ooh, what's that?
Hmm. That's good.
I know.
So,
So people live in your purpose, your passion,
yep.
to have intentional living, and each and every week come and join us. Like subscribe, do all that fun jazz, because we're doing this from our heart to your heart. This is our way to shine our light, because
That's right.
in our journeys, we very much needed other people's light in our darkness, and there's no
We
shame.
absolutely did.
There's no guilt.
Yep.
It every misstep, everything that happens is a setup to better yourself.
Yep.
It's just something like my accident. I was grateful for it because it allowed me to really embrace my true essence,
That's right.
and it allows me to speak my truth, where before I was very much emotionally constipated. So rediscover your passions, my friends, your hobbies, if it's pets, or if it, walking your pets, going in the doing what gives you peace.
Yes.
Yes.
Peace and purpose. Yep. Totally.
Do the peas, my
Great.
friend.
Do the peas. Got to do
All
the
right.
peas.
I will see you all next week. Pez says goodbye.
Yep.
Bobby says goodbye. I say goodbye.
I do say goodbye. All right.
Bye.
See you next week.
Bye.